Good afternoon and welcome to Real Love. Real Love feels pure and authentic with Coach Liz. For today's show, we have so much information for you. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 love languages, but we're going to focus on the singles. We're going to focus on that single life. But before we get started, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe and hit that bell so you'll know when we have upcoming episodes. Now, we have a bonus for you today. If you stay to the end, we're going to talk about the categories of con men, because as we're addressing our singleness and love in our love language as being a single, you got to be aware of the buyer beware. So stay to the end, and we got a special bonus for you. So let's dive right in. We always start our segments off with getting us in the mood. So getting in the mood, we're going to start today off with Prince. His Still Waiting is one of my favorites. And his Still Waiting, it starts and it goes this way. Now, I'm not going to sing for y'all because, that's not my forte. That is not my gift. But the lyrics are, all my friends tell me about the love they have. Can't they see what they are doing to me? Makes me feel so bad. Ooh, can you hear the lyrics? Can you hear the music? I'm so alone, brokenhearted. It ain't like my life has ended before it just started. The love my friends rap about, I keep anticipating. I've tried so hard, but don't you know my patience are fading away? Oh, we feel that. I'm still waiting for the love. I'm wishing on every star above. I'm waiting for that love to come around. He says, and he goes on to say, I spend my nights just a crying. I spend my days just a trying. Then he flips on down and says, they really don't know. That's all I'm dreaming of. Man, how many ladies feel those lyrics? How many of you all actually really, really feel that? I know there's been many days that I've felt a lot of the things that he's talking about in this song. But one thing that he talks about is that he says, I he said, I've tried so hard. And he talks about trying so hard, but his patience is fading away, or the patience are fading away. But you know what? One of the things that we can do Iyanla Van Zant wrote a book and it's called In the Meantime. What do we do in the meantime? See, this is the thing that just saddens my heart sometimes, is because we often don't understand and we don't learn how to be in the meantime, how to enjoy the journey, not just trying to get to the destination of being in a relationship or, falling in love, okay? But learning to love ourselves in the meantime, take care of ourselves in the meantime, develop ourselves in the meantime. Oftentimes we're asking for something to come that we're not even really prepared for, you know. It's just incredible that, this life journey that we walk on, that we go through. Let's talk a little bit about the 5 languages of love and what the 5 languages of love are. It is how you give and receive love. How do we give and receive love? And, having an understanding of that. See, sometimes we just, I call it sleepwalking through life. Sometimes we sleepwalk through life and we have to wake up. If we want a desired result, it's not just happening by happenstance. Now, if you have those successful love stories that they fell in love when they met, and and it was just chemistry and just everything happened, and you think that it's all roses or what have you, stop peeping over in somebody else's yard, because that grass over there might be dyed, and it might be turf, and it might be hell that you don't even understand. So instead of peeping over the fence at somebody else's yard, stay focused in your own yard and develop the soil over here. Help yourself to develop. And learning your love language is a way in which we can do that. Learning your love language. So Dr. Gary Chapman is an author, speaker, and a counselor. And he has a passion for people and helping them to form lasting relationships. Because what sense does it make to, as Prince says, still wait and then wait and wait and wait for that love to come around? And when the love does come, you don't know what to do with it because you don't know your love language to actually articulate what your love language is, and then actually to help fulfill his love language, us being helpmeets to one another. How can we do that if we don't really understand, right? So the five love language are, they are, and for this session you might want to grab a pen and a piece of paper, because as we're walking through this whole real love being pure and authentic, we want to take some notes and then go back and we want to review it, because I'm studying with you all. We're in the same boat together. You know what I'm saying? We are in this community. We need to be able to support one another, and we need to be able to be real with one another and talk about some of the heartache and some of the pain, so that we can get on, so that we can heal it. Like I said on the other episode, we not want to keep looking in the back, but one thing in the back, in that rearview mirror, if you don't understand what happened back there and why you made the decisions that you made, you're bound to keep repeating those same mistakes that brought you to this still waiting place in your life. And what he said, what did it say in there? Uh, I'm so alone, brokenhearted. And a lot of people hide that, they hide behind being a workaholic and working and working and working to cover it up. They go into denial. There's a whole lot of different types of behaviors that we use to cover up, instead of going on ahead and being brave and opening up that heart and seeing what needs to be surgically mended back together, what needs to come back together, so that you can be a whole person, so that you can be whole and loving and kind and true, and so that you can attract that back to you. So the five languages of love. One is, they are words of affirmation. Words of affirmation. In the let me go over these first, and then we'll come back to explaining them. But the words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now, those are the five languages of love, and how we receive and how we give love. But think about this. What if you're a person that loves to touch, and you touch, and then you meet or mate with a person that don't like to be touched, and maybe they don't like to be touched because there's some things in their past that they need to work on. I had a girlfriend once that did not like to be touched, and her husband was very affectionate. So imagine the frustration that happens when you are you want to show this love because you want this touching back, but the person that you're with, they might have all the other attributes that you like, but they don't like to be touched. So that's the area that needs some work. What's going on that they don't like to be touched? Because the human touch is the most healing thing. When you can touch somebody and you transfer your energy to them, and they feel the caring, they feel the love, that's one of the most healing things there is. So when somebody don't want to be touched, there's some layers of that onion that needs to be peeled. And sometimes folks aren't willing to do their work. My associate, she wasn't willing to do the work, so they did end in divorce. But could you imagine what it's like to be able to really assess yourself and really meet with somebody that's actually, in a healthy place themselves? You get something like, it was funny, I wrote this down as the movie that we're going to talk about today, which is 50 First Dates. It's a romance drama that came out in 2004. It was starring Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Talk about somebody going digging down and learning somebody's love language. See, I don't know if you know the story, and I'm not going to be spoiler alert for it, but very, very cute story. They call it the chick flick, yeah. But Drew Barrymore played the young lady who actually was in a car accident, and when she was in that car accident, she suffered a head injury, which caused her to forget every day before, and so every day, she had to start all over again. Every day, her memory wiped clean and started all over. But when she met the gentleman, or the gentleman met her, which Adam Sandler played the gentleman, met her and, was attracted to her and drawn to her, he didn't know. And then, long story short, uh, when he started to date her every day, he had to make her fall in love with him. So think about that. 50 First Dates, somebody that cares enough about you that They don't say, oh, here's an issue, and they run. They say, wait a minute. I need to create the day over every day for her so that she can fall in love with me every single day. Imagine a man picking up that task and actually moving forward with it. But anyway, awesome movie, wonderful movie to go watch. Let's continue talking about the languages of love. And if you go to the 5 languages of love, there are some quizzes out there that you can take. They have multiple categories, and we're going to go through some of those categories. But for today, we're going to stay on the singles. And as far as the singles, what you will get out of learning your love language as a single, you'll start to understand yourself better and understand others better. You will grow closer to family, friends, and others that care about you. You will gain courage to express your emotions and affection. You will discover the missing ingredient in past relationships. Again, looking in that rearview mirror so that we can learn and do better. Not going back there grabbing the ex, because the ex is an ex for a reason, right? You'll be able to date successfully and actually be able to date more. So when we talk about the love languages of singles, again, identifying what is your love language. Out of those categories that we talked about, did you think about it? What is your love language? Is it words of affirmation? And I'm looking at this and kind of thinking about myself. I love words of affirmation. Quality time is very, very important to me. And I guess you can kind of put them in category. What is the most important to you? Physical touch is very important to me. Receiving gifts, I think that's the lowest on my totem pole. I mean, it's there because I love gifts and I love beautiful things. But for me, the quality time and the communication is what's very, very important to me. Someone that actually cares. Like, for instance, if your car is dirty and your significant other just takes your keys and go gets the car cleaned and fuels it. And I think one of the things that's important. That's one of the things that's important to me. Or just communicating, having good conversation, positive conversation, not demeaning conversation, but very, very positive confirmation. So and still going back to the love languages, if you want to create a lasting relationship, like anything worthwhile, takes intentional commitment over time. That I thought was really key. It takes intentional commitment over time. Intentional meaning that that there's a strategy behind it, that you're not just going in and taking things as they come, but you're actually putting some effort and some work toward it, because relationships are work. um, so it says, but when you're not on the same page, keeping your love alive can be intimidating, and it can even be impossible at times. So with the 5 languages of love, Dr. Gary Chapman presents a simple truth. Relationships grow better when we understand each other. Everyone gives and receives love differently, but with a little insight, that's the key, insight, educating yourself, insight into these differences, we can be confidently equipped to communicate love well. This is true for all forms of relationships, whether it's marriage or dating or children or teens or friends or co-workers or long distance relationships, from those brand new loves and for romances that are older that are older than the heels. So Dr. Chapman has a series on the different love languages, and what those love languages are and how you can apply them to your life so that you can have a fulfilling relationship, even a fulfilling relationship with yourself as a single. One of the things that I do, and I have to go back to doing that, it is nothing wrong, ladies, with dating yourself. I mean, to understand what is it that you like. I found that I love yellow roses. I found that, I don't mind going to a restaurant and having, and having a meal by myself. I don't mind going buy myself a gift. I don't mind going to, when we have movies open, hopefully that'll come back soon, but go to the movies and go enjoy a good movie to yourself. Really, really learning yourself and not always having to lean on somebody else to take you out, or leaning on somebody else to know you or make you feel good or what have you. But just on that topic right there about make you feel good, Don't beat yourself up, ladies, because love is a drug. Is actually it actually has the same mental effect on you. Hold on to your socks now, as cocaine. I'm gonna let that resonate for a minute. Love is a drug. Okay, so it stimulates the same neurons in your brain that cocaine does. Now think about how strong cocaine is. So don't underestimate the power of why sometimes we don't allow ourselves to heal as we go into another relationship, because we're anesthetizing the pain from the past relationship. And in order for us to actually heal, we need to take time. We need to take a sabbatical. I took 4 years and I still wasn't ready when I came out. I'm going back in right now because you really need to you have to decide what it is that you want. Stephen Covey's, uh, uh, what is it? 7 Habits of Effective People. He says, begin with the end in mind. What is the end result? What do you want? Do you want to remain single? And there's nothing wrong with that. Society has got this thing kind of wrong. Not kind of wrong. They've gotten it wrong. It's nothing wrong with being single, but they always, they set the tables with twos. They, look upon you like you're crazy if you go in reservation for one, or if it's just by yourself. It's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you choose it because there's some things, there's some goals. Michelle McKinney Hammond, amazing. She talked about the power of femininity. There's some other books that I've read of hers as well. But she talked about what we do in the meantime. How do we preserve ourselves and take care of ourselves so that we come out being the best person that we can be? And in the end result, you want to be happy and fulfilled, whether you're single or whether you are, and I don't mean pretending to be happy and fulfilled, but I mean really being happy and fulfilled. Like when you eat a good meal and you're like, whoo, you got to unbutton that top button. Happy and truly fulfilled. That means, and I'm excited about getting to know myself. I mean, no, I'm just really excited about it. And I think that's a good thing when we start to heal some of those dark places in us. But don't forget, make sure that you stay to the end, because I got some doozies for you in the end as a treat. Talking about the personality traits, and and so once you've healed, and once you're healed yourself and you do go back out there, you want to make sure that you connect with the right people, and that your antennas are up. If you haven't seen it, go back to yesterday's episode where we talk about the red flags and such. But let's talk a little bit more about what it means to be single out here. One of the things that I really want to impress upon my sisters out here, ladies, you are beautiful. And I want you to know that. And I want us to, form a sisterhood community where we love on one another. God loved us so much. He gave us our own unique fingerprint. How much love is that? He loved us so much that he not only gave us our own fingerprint, but he also gave us our own birthmark. Take a minute. Let me tell you what your birthmark is. You know that thing that you don't like about yourself? That thing that you think is like, oh, I wish I could change you so much. My birthmark, here we go. I'm going to whisper it because, again, I don't want everybody to know. My unique birthmark, drum roll, please. It's my knock knees. Oh, my Lanta, let me tell you, for the longest time, for many, many, many years, I was so ashamed of my knock knees. I used to think, oh my God, these circles look like a freaking K. Why can't I, what can I do? I tried to walk different. I tried to stand different. I always thought that was the centerpiece. When you go into a room, I always thought, oh my God, people see me, all they see are these knees, these knocking knees. That was so, and people and friends would always say, girl, you so not. I used to get so upset about that. And then one day I was dating a gentleman, and he said, those are the cutest little knock knees I've ever seen. And at that moment, I wasn't sure if he was, if he was playing, or but he continued that. And he said, no, I think that is so cute. It's unique. It's different. All this time. And then some years later, I thought about it. And as I looked in the mirror, And as I started peeling off all of the onions of under the onion layers of insecurities, I said, wow, you know what? That is unique. I did a paradigm shift. It was no longer ugly to me. It was no longer like that. It just was no longer ugly to me. It was, I said, wow, God gave me my own unique print. You know what I'm saying? So I want you all to start embracing the beauty that's you. Society has it wrong because society will tell you that a certain thing is beautiful or what have you. Ladies, men, like, I was talking to my cousin the other day, and oftentimes we are held prisoner to our weight, and so because we think that this is what's beautiful or that's what's beautiful, or very thin and trim is beautiful, other than because I'm into wellness, into the wellness lifestyle, being healthy, being vibrant, that is what matters. Now, carrying a couple extra pounds around or what have you, you have to decide on your barometer, what's a good healthy weight for you. Are you exercising? Are you drinking your water? Are you getting in your vitamins, your herbs, your supplements? Are you taking good care of yourself by getting enough rest? Oftentimes we don't get enough rest, and so we're not even thinking clearly, and then we have all these standards of beauty set by the industries, and they don't even believe it. They just put out there what sells. But think about it, there are men that like, different women of different ethnicities. There are some men that that like a all natural woman, some men that like the Barbie doll woman, some men like shapely women, some men like thin women, some men like dark women, some men like light women, some men like caramel women. It doesn't matter. It's who you are and being your best self, being who you are. And ladies, we need to find that beautiful thing about our sisters. And every day I want to start a movement. Every day you see a lady, say something beautiful about her. Find something beautiful about your sister and compliment her. I do it all the time. If I see you in the store, I start talking to you. I talk about, your beautiful smile, your beautiful eyes, a beautiful dress, maybe whatever. You have no idea. She may have been beat up the whole week, the whole month, the whole year, or may have never gotten a compliment. And you see, and even women that you may look at and you think they are like just so super duper gorgeous. They got everything together. I complimented a lady one day and she was like, oh my land, thank you so much. She was just, in a way, she said, this has been one of the roughest days for me. And I'm telling you, when I looked at her, I was like, girl, got it going on from head to toe. But you have no idea what that heart, what condition your sister's heart is in. And we are responsible for being our brother's keepers. So I encourage you to encourage and to inspire another lady today. Just stop for a minute. It costs you nothing to be nice to another lady, to smile at her, to, just show some love to somebody. Man, we're going through some difficult times right now. And that right there, it is worth, it is priceless. Okay. The other thing that I definitely wanted to talk about was married ladies. Okay. I know that a lot of single women, they disrespect you because they don't respect your marriage or your union. But I just want to let you know that all single women don't subscribe to a married man is, open field or open game. I myself personally, I respect the sanctity of marriage. I respect the sanctity of a relationship. When a person is committed in a relationship and they have a covenant, whether it's a marriage covenant or whether it's a single covenant, I'm going to stand by the single women that have dignity, that have self-respect, that have that understands that that union is to be respected. Now, regardless as to if that man is respecting it or not, it is, that's how they pit us against one another. And I think it's done by the male, more men in and I'm not saying all men, but some. I think we're pitted against one another. And I think it's time out for that. Why can't we um why can't we take a stance? and say, you know what? My sister is beautiful. I don't have to be jealous of her. I don't have to be envious of her, because you have no idea what it takes to walk in her stilettos. You have no idea what it takes for her to walk in her pumps. You have no idea. So instead of being envious or jealous, or, come pitting each other or coming at each other crazy or what have you, you know, let's not do that. Let's say, enough is enough. Let's love on one another and embrace each other. You know, and even a situation where a woman feels violated because you're dating somebody and she's dating somebody or what have you. Oftentimes, my sisters, the ladies don't know. The guys are good at hiding it, so the ladies don't know. Some men are excellent at having multiple lives. We've had them that have multiple families, that have you wonder how we all got the same 24 hours, but they're very clever at being able to do this. So I'm just saying, sisters, love on each other. Let's come together and not fight each other. Let's come together, love on one another. We can be so strong together. We can, form such a sisterhood. And I know everybody's not going to be kumbaya. Everybody's not going to be down with what I'm saying. I understand that. But those of you that do have an ear to hear, think about it. Your sister can be your best ally. We just have to be on the right page and get some sleep and have a clear head. How about that? So I did promise you that at the end of, and I also wanted to share this too. I watched my mother and father, her second marriage, and I watched them have a beautiful love affair. And when I talk about your beautiful identifying mark, I always thought about this. She had such a insecurity about her legs, because my mother had very, very thin legs, very, very skinny legs, right? But my father loved her legs. He adored her legs. And I just say, just kind of going back to that piece of it, ladies, embrace yourself, love yourself, be grateful that your arms are moving, that your brain is functioning. Be grateful that you have a heart. Be grateful that you're in your right mind and that you're able to move around, and that you just be grateful is what I'm saying. Stay in a grateful place, in a grateful spirit. So, as I promised, we're nearing the end here today. And as I promised, I wanted to bring the 3 categories of a con man. And excuse me, as I was studying this subject, it was very profound to me, because as I was studying and walking through it, looking at it, there are three types of con men. One, and there may be more, but these are some dark traits, and it's called dark personality trait. And I'm going to try the third one. I'm going to try and pronounce it, and I practiced it before we started, but this word right here, and it's the first one is narcissism. We talked about narcissism. The other one is psychopath, and the third one is manichevism. Probably didn't pronounce that right, but I will spell it, and I'm gonna put it in the comments. Is MACHIAVELLIANISM. I'm going to put it in the description as well. But it's dark personality traits. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the dark personality traits is because we need to empower ourselves. We need to arm ourselves. We talked about the game book yesterday, the game plan, but we need to arm ourselves with knowledge. We need to understand. We need to educate ourselves. So dark personality traits are, they'll be charming and very charismatic, but they will have callous and manipulative ways. They want everything basically to go their way, and if it doesn't, it can be dangerous. They're impulsive, and they may engage in dangerous behavior. They swindle the unsuspected lady or persons. They feel no remorse or guilt. So there's no thinking with your mind saying, wait, person should feel guilty about that. No, there is no remorse or guilt. They have huge egos, and when they swindle you, or when they do that, it's a confidence boost to them. See, sometimes we have to think about how somebody else thinks in order to be victorious in this, and also in order to separate yourself away from it. Because think about it, a charming man, like I said the other day, my kryptonite is a man in a suit, but also an intelligent man. So I'm learning a lot about why these type of men were drawn to me and why I was openly accessible to them. Because think about this, well, let's go back to this and then I'll get back to that part. But they change their identities as part of the game. So they will go and they will research you and they will study you. And it's easy with the internet now, and everybody is out there, all your business is out there. They'll research you, they'll study you, and they'll come back and they will be like a chameleon and give you exactly what it is that you want. When all the time, their intent was to swindle you out of something. And if it's swindling you out of money, swindling you out of your heart, swindling you, period. But that's the whole intent. That's the name of the game. Okay. That one got me. That one just knocked me out of my socks. Okay. They know that the law considers their cons to be civil issues. So that doesn't carry a lot of time, or it's not, or they don't even get prosecuted for it, so they know they can get away with it. Oh, that got me too. Unless it's a corporate white collar crime, like everybody knows, or if you don't, the Bernie Madoff story, that was a white collar corporate crime, so they did come after him for that. But think about it, all the times that people that can just come after you. Jennifer Lewis, she talked about how her personal trainer came after her, and she was unsuspected, and he got her out of 50,000 in pretense of that that they were in a relationship and that he had all this and he had her invest in something. That was one of the things that got me too when I looked at this, when they talked about see, there's a difference between a mental disorder and a personality disorder. Oh no, I'm sorry, a personality trait. This is according to Psychology Today. The warning that they gave on there was, they said buyer beware. I'm saying ladies beware. Okay. What is a mark? Again, I had to learn this too. Yes, I did, and I'm not being ashamed of it. I had to learn it. See, sometimes when your mind is in your books and your mind is in business, your mind is not on these other things. So sometimes you do miss things. But a mark is an intended victim of a planned con. That's what it is. And I'm gonna share this with you. There is a movie, A Fall from Grace by Tyler Perry, a must watch for all ladies. Now, when you watch that story, sometimes if you haven't been a mark or a victim of a con, you might say, well, that was just too much. Anybody could have saw that. Hold on. No, that was my story. Up until the part where they had the people, I don't want to be a spoiler alert in it, but when they had the people or the senior citizens locked in the basement, that part wasn't my story. Everything before that was, except for, I didn't take no baseball bat to them. But that story, the con, and how they, manipulate you and draw you in, even when you're like shut down and you're guarded, they are very charismatic and very charming. And I'm saying beware. Beware. The other movie that I wanted to talk about, where they're highly manipulative and exploitive. They will exploit you. The other thing is, there was the other movie that I wanted to talk about was Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it was a 2002 crime drama. Stars were Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, and Christopher Walken, Walken. Walken. Yeah, Walken. In that movie, Leonardo DiCaprio was barely 21. Well, he was the actor that portrayed the gentleman that was barely 21. Man, let me tell you, that movie it's a long one, but that movie is so good because it really puts things into perspective. How somebody can, in the movie, and I'll give you a little bit of it, but I won't give you the spoiler alert in it. But the character that Leonardo DiCaprio played was, he wanted to figure out how to make money and how to live a wealthy lifestyle. Man, he portrayed so many different careers, and this was a true story. He portrayed. So when you talk about people portraying, different different professions, we're talking about doctors. We're talking about he was a pilot. I mean, he portrayed a pilot, a surgeon. He was just very, very cunning, very, very manipulative, and he got his way. Shoot, he swindled Pan Am out of so many doggone paychecks, and he actually walked up to the windows, and he charmed the tellers at the bank. They didn't even know that he had soaked the planes and took the little emblems off and popped them on a check. He was cunning. So I'm just letting you all know that, and like I said, I've experienced this. I've had things stolen from me. I've had deeds written, what do you call it? Uh, uh, um, well, I'm not even going to get into all the details, but I will say I've had things like that happen to me. So I do know that it's real. And I know that you have to be on your P's and Q's. You have to educate yourself. You have to understand the different personality traits. You have to understand that there are dark personalities that are lurking amongst us, and you have to be aware. I'm not saying that every man is that way, because I do not believe in my heart of hearts that every man is that way, but I do believe that there are some that carry these dark personality traits, and I think that we need to be aware. We need to be educated, and as we're educated, I don't want us to walk in fear. Good place for a deep breath to bring it down a little bit. I don't want us to walk in fear. I want us to walk intelligently, but I also want us to walk in love. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I know today's topic was kind of out there, but I just want you all to be educated as I learn this stuff myself. We're all walking through this together. Let's just continue to educate, continue to walk in our fearlessness, and just be yourself. Learn to be yourself, but you got to learn your love language and learn what it is. What does that mean? Be myself. If you don't know the answer, then it's worth educating yourself and studying and finding out, who am I and what is it that I truly, really want in all of this. Well, until next time, stay fearless, my sisters. Stay fearless. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on next show. Bye for now.